Hey y'all, welcome to a fun, simple video, a beauty YouTube classic. I'm going to be testing new makeup, trying makeup on my face. I have some products from Flower Beauty. They sent me a little PR package, which is really awesome. So there's this foaming primer and this like jelly lip product and lip and cheek gel and a couple of eyeshadow palettes. I have this illuminator from LILAH that they sent me as PR, so I'm gonna be trying that out as well. And I'm also going to be opening today's drawer and yesterday's drawer, because I forgot to do it yesterday, in my makeup advent calendar. The advent calendar has in it makeup that I already own. It's stuff that I've had for a long time, so it's not new to me, but I don't know what the products are because my friend Julia put the stuff in the calendar for me so that I could open it day by day through the month of December and be excited by being reunited with my own stuff. The twist for this trying new makeup, is a twist for me, is that all of the products that Flower Beauty sent me in the PR package are cool toned, pretty much. So the eyeshadow palette, the one that I want to use, is really quite heavily cool toned. It's like taupe and purple. The lip product is like a cool toned pale pink, which I don't own anything like this because it's not usually what I wear. Even the lip and cheek is kind of cool toned. So I'm gonna do a cool toned look. It's like not my usual jam, especially not the pink lip, but even the cool toned eye with the purple and the taupe, I think it's gonna be different for me. And that's something that I do get requests for from time to time. I think a lot of people are interested in cool toned makeup right now, so that will hopefully make the video even more robust. If this is your first time clicking on one of my videos, welcome. I'm so glad that you did that. My name is Hannah and I love beautiful things, so I do this on my channel. I review beautiful things and beauty products, but it's all with an undercurrent of awareness about financial health, because I'm all too aware that spending can become an issue for those of us who love beauty as we do. And if that kind of balanced content sounds good to you, I hope that you will subscribe to my channel right now. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. All right, the first thing I'm gonna do is open the advent calendar. I'm gonna get the little drawers, but without looking into them, BRB. Okay, here's drawer 12, yesterday's drawer. Oh, good. This is so funny. So my Rowan quad, this is the 1111. I knew it was gonna be the 1111 because I started thinking about my Rowan makeup recently because I filmed that video about the makeup that I wore the most in the year of 2020. I realized belatedly that maybe I should have thought about the Rowan quads because I had such a passionate love affair with them, like in the second half of 2019 and the first half of 2020, but my wearing of them has kind of fallen off as the quarantine has progressed, and that's why I didn't think to include them in the video. But my thinking about them made me want to start wearing them again, so I went to get them out, to put them on my vanity, start wearing them, and one was missing. It was this one. So I knew that it was in the advent calendar, but of course then immediately that made me want to have it, you know, like missing it made me want to have it again. So I'm glad that it was yesterday's product, and also this has some cool toned elements to it, so it'll fit well with the look that I'm hoping to do today. What a coincidence! It's also a LILAH product, and this is another thing I've been missing. I actually reached for this. I looked for this recently and I couldn't find it, and so I had sussed it out. I knew that it was in there. I'm glad that there are so many things in the makeup advent calendar whose absence I am noticing. I think that that is a good sign. And I have been wanting to try the LILAH illuminator along with one of the LILAH blushes. Like I wanted to try them together, but the other LILAH blush that I have wasn't really the right color for the look I'm thinking of doing, so that's why I didn't grab it. So this is perfect. I'll use the two of these together. The illuminator is Be Enchanting, and it's in the bronze packaging, and then the old standard, the LILAH Lip and Cheek and Be Lovely, that's the other one. It's one of my favorite cream cheeks. Okay, fantastic. I was a little bit worried about those wild card products and how they would fit into the video, but they couldn't have been more perfect. Like I couldn't have picked them better myself. Let's jump right into this weird primer. So I did squeeze this out when I opened this. These just came like a day or two ago, and during makeup playtime last night, I like puffed it out just to see what it was like, but I haven't had a chance to put it on my face yet. I'm gonna be doing it together with you for the first time. It's the Flower Beauty Supernova Celestial Priming Whip, and I am torn. Before even trying it, and I'm torn because I don't like gimmicks, and I feel like I'm suspicious of it. I'm suspicious fish. I feel like whatever it is that makes it whip up and puff up is probably not contributing to the qualities that I want in a primer. Like, I'm like, take out whatever's in here that's making it puff up, take that out if it's gonna make it a better primer, and then give it to me in a packaging that doesn't puff it up. So like, I'm a little worried that the formula has been compromised by the gimmick, but I love an illuminating primer, and that's the claims. It's supposed to be like a color correcting and illuminating primer. So even though it has a gimmick, I'm interested in trying it for that reason. I'll try to hold it up so that you can see it puff up when I squeeze it out. Yeah, it's just like shaving cream. And it's kind of like a light purple. Yeah, it's definitely a light purple. Okay. Okay, Flower Beauty. Gosh, it feels like I puffed out way too much, because it feels like a little goes a very long way, because it's all foamy. I mean, it feels like I have 5 times too much. Now it's starting to feel kind of alarming. It feels very wet. It feels like it's never gonna soak in. As the puffiness settles down, as it becomes less of a foam and more of a serum, it is starting to feel pretty beefy. Sorry, I have like a cat hair or something. Yeah, the serum, as a serum, it actually does feel like it's creating a nice layer on my skin, like it's pretty thick. And I like that in a primer. I like a primer to really feel like it's creating a barrier. Oh, but all around my chin, it's starting to look disgusting and pilly. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. I think that what's happening is it's picking up on a bunch of, I do have some dry skin, so I think it might be my dry skin that's pilling, like the product is rolling my dry skin off of my face and making these pills, but I can't go on like this. So I need to wipe it off and kind of reapply, at least in that area, because it's really quite nasty. I don't even want to give you a close-up. Okay, I do think that it was my skin and not the primer itself that was pilling, but the primer itself didn't help, and it was like I had to rub it in and rub it in and rub it in until the foaming effect died down. And it wasn't until then that it actually started adhering to my skin, and I feel like all of that rubbing sort of like rolled it around and just kind of made it a little yucky. And so in the second application, after I exfoliated basically this part of my face, then I went back to what I had squeezed out on my hand, and it had already started to calm down. Like, it was no longer, Sadie's like aggressively scratching her. Hi, can you be quiet? Quiet on set, Sadie? She's like, why is my water bowl so well lit? So it was easier to apply the stuff from my hand that had already turned back into a serum and was no longer a foam. As a foam, it was really difficult to apply. So I actually feel like everything about the gimmick like worked against the application process for this product. The other thing is, when I was wiping off the part that had gotten kind of nasty on my chin, it came off on this little wipe kind of gray. And I think that's probably because it has a purple undertone, and I don't like that either. So there's a lot about this that it's like a giant fail right off the bat, basically. Let's see how my regular skin products apply over top of it. So I'm gonna use my concoction of concealers, the Erin's Faces, the Makeup Forever, and the NARS, and I'm gonna use my Sephora Bright Future Green Color Corrector to try to balance out some of this purple, which is really on its last legs. Like, it's time to replace it pretty much. So the illuminating quality of the primer is showing through my base products, and I do like that. I think that that's a good quality. But as I was applying those concealers and color corrector, I can tell you, I noticed it definitely didn't moisturize my skin. If anything, it kind of made like a dry layer. And really close up, I could also see that the illumination in it is kind of gold. It's like purple and gold, which isn't ideal for me because I have such pale skin, and gold can sometimes be like a gold reflect can sometimes actually be darker than my skin. So a couple of more ways in which it's not really working for me. Okay, I'm gonna stick with that for base. Let's go in on the eyes with one of these palettes. This is what the outer packaging looks like. I actually really like the design visually. Physically, they're very, very lightweight. They definitely feel like drugstore makeup, you know what I mean? They feel like very, very affordably priced makeup, but I appreciate that even though they don't have the luxurious weight of something like these LILAH B pebbles, that visually they're still very appealing. I like that. This one right here is called In Bloom, and it's so shiny that I feel like I'm having a hard time picking it up on camera. And this one's called Black Iris, and as you can see, I've kind of swatched around and played with that one. That's the one that I'm going to be using. Pretty shiny. They do feel a little bit dry and kind of slick, but the payoff is definitely there in terms of shine. On these last two fingers, those are two of the colors from the more cool toned quad, Black Iris. The shine is less intense, it's more of a grungy shine. So swatching this purple from this quad, the Black Iris quad, it's called Stormy. It actually made me want to put it on my eyes. I probably wouldn't have picked it because I feel like next to the others, next to this like kind of slate blue matte and next to this more taupe matte, it looks very purple. But when I swatched it, it looked more neutral. Like it looked more like a grungy, cool toned neutral metallic. And I really, really love that. So I am gonna go into that with my finger, put it all over my lids and buff it out. So there's the color when it's buffed out. I really like it. I really like the color. I really like the colors of this quad actually, and I like the fact that the metallics are kind of grungy and deep and not super reflective like the lighter ones in the other quad. I like the two mattes and the two metallics and the way that they all work together. I think it's beautifully curated. I'm not completely obsessed with the quality of this. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I kind of lost some of the intensity. Usually when I pack a shade onto my lids with my fingers and then buff out the edges, it retains its intensity where I've packed it on with my finger and then the edges diffuse out. With this one, just the light buffing that I was doing over it with the brush to buff the edges out kind of picked up some of the intensity. Doing that kind of picked up the intensity from the center and I lost some of the intensity on the center. So if I wanted to make this a one shadow look, I would have to build more layers, build it back onto my lids. It feels like the sort of standard issue, the standard problem that you run into with less quality shadows. They can be really beautiful. You can get a really beautiful look, but you're just gonna have to like do a little more layering, a little bit more work. So it's not the worst, but it's definitely not, you know, rivaling my Natasha Denona shadows or something. I'm gonna use some of this taupe matte in the outer corner and kind of buffing around the edges. And I'm gonna use some of the lighter colored metallic, which isn't really even that light. I was playing with it a little last night. It's not really that light at all. Yeah, I'm gonna use a little bit of it too, just working the whole thing in. The look that just came over my face was because I remembered I was gonna try to use the Rowan 1111 in this look as well. I'll use one of those as the topper when I'm done kind of like experimenting with these shadows. I just wanna use it more than just the one of them on my lids to show you. Ugh, it's tough, you guys. I really love the colors. Like the more I work with it, the more I'm like really into this quad. And I even kind of, for sort of the monochromatic look that I'm going for, I even kind of like the fact that because the shadows aren't really holding their own, they're really blending together. So it's like this monochromatic, cool toned wash. It's like, is it taupe? Is it purple? Is it just a smoke color? It's kind of hard to tell. I kind of like that. Like I do feel like it is working for me, but it wouldn't work to try to make a look with this where you're really building like a gradient or you like very obviously have different colors on different parts of your eyes. The tones, in spite of how different they look in the quad, are actually too similar to each other for that. Like they're closer together once they're on the eyes than you would think. And because of the consistency, that slightly dry consistency, they puff and they blend and it's a little bit harder to get disparate areas on your eyes with them. So it's not impossible to use, and I'm finding the colors very inspiring, but it has its drawbacks. Just putting a little eyeliner in my waterline. I will say the fallout brushed away very easily. The only reason I had fallout was because I went in with such a thick application of that first color on my lids with my finger. Going in with a brush I didn't get any fallout, but it brushed away really easily because the particles of pigment were so dry. When they dropped onto my cheeks, they didn't stick and they didn't smear when I tried to brush them away. So in some ways, this is very user-friendly. It's actually probably pretty beginner-friendly in certain ways, but given that I have a robust collection of really beautiful high-quality eyeshadows, don't feel like I would buy it or like I need to keep this. Not mad at the look though, and I think it's gonna go really well with the Rowan 1111 quad. So I did get a little bit of a uneven blend right towards the sort of center part of this brow up here. And rather than trying to blend and blend with the brush with those other eyeshadows, I'm gonna go into this really sparkly shade in the 1111 quad. It's the one called hashtag. Oh no, it's called Situation. And I'm just going to place a little bit of it in that spot, kind of a poof of it in that spot, and blend it out on both eyes. Okay, might have gotten a little carried away. These are just such fun shadows to play with. This is the shadow. This is what I was using. It's so textured. I mean, look at that. It doesn't apply super evenly. It's very flaky and it's good for kind of dispersing over an area of the eye. And it's really illuminating my brow bone right now on both eyes. So to balance that out with some texture on the lids, but to stick with the cool toned theme, I'm going into hashtag, which is this one right here, the really cool toned. I actually really love this shade. And I'm just gonna put that on the center of my lids. Okay, let's stick with that relatively simple look, but let's add mascara to it. So Flower Beauty sent me their Warrior Princess mascara, which I'm very glad they did because many of you have suggested it to me. Just knowing what I like in a mascara, many of you suggested it to me, so I'm glad to be able to try it. I do this with some trepidation though, because I know that a lot of times when you first open a mascara and it's fresh, the first time you apply it, you don't really get the full story. I can already tell you that the brush looks promising. This is the kind of mascara wand that I tend to like. So we'll just see how it goes, but I'm going to reserve ultimate judgment on this product, at least until I've had it for a little while. So the first coat, it went on pretty well. I do like the brush, but I feel like I need to get more of the product built up on the brush before I'm gonna get a sense of how it really works. But the brush is good and the product it's pretty good. It's not like, so far it's like, I think it's probably not performing at its full capacity, but nothing is alarming me. Not bad actually. So far it's kind of reminding me of a drugstore version of the Pat McGrath Dark Star mascara that I've been using, which I like but don't love because it's got like the shape and the volume and the brush and everything, but it's quite sticky, like it's dry to the point of feeling quite sticky, and that means that it's hard for me to really gunk it on. So I feel like it's working towards the effect that I want, but I feel like I can never quite get like true drama with it. I feel like this has the same formula and everything. It just feels a little bit cheaper, a little bit lighter weight. The brush feels like just a little bit cheaper and smaller, but it feels like the same general principle and the same outcome. I'll report back on this though after I try it some more. I usually do cheeks next, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the lip product on because I have tried this. I tried it during Makeup Playtime and it's wonderful. It's really, really nourishing. It's the Flower Beauty Chill Out Lip Glaze. And this is in a color I would never have chosen for myself, the color Unwind. I wanted to go ahead and put it on because my lips were feeling really dry, but also because I feel like this cool toned lip it's like bringing out the purple in the smoky eye. It's not a smoky eye like the makeup technique, but the color is smoky, the color of the eye. This smoky eye rather than this smoky eye. It's bringing out the purple in that smoke, and I kind of wanted to have that in my face, on my face. Like I kind of wanted to see what I would be dealing with when I went in on my cheeks to kind of work with it instead of ending up having it be too chaotic. This lip product reminds me so much of the Bobbi Brown liquid lip glaze. It's like the new Bobbi Brown lip gloss. The Bobbi Brown crushed oil infused lip gloss. The formula reminds me very, very much of that. It's got like a gel oily quality, but it doesn't melt away. It really stays on the lips. It's really lovely. Like as soon as I tried this on, I like looked up the other colors and looked into it. They have mostly bright colors. Like they don't really have very many neutral. They don't have any sort of like lovely peaches and mauves and nudes and browns. They don't have any browns, sadly. This is very bright pink for me. You guys usually don't see me wearing something like this, but it's also kind of nice that it's novel because it's so similar to this formula. If it were similar in color, I would just feel like I had a dupe. But as it is, I feel like I'm kind of going out on a limb with this. All right, so I want to test this gel crush, this lip and cheek gel crush thing, but I'm worried that it's gonna add too much berry tone. I feel like I need to keep the cheeks pretty neutral in order for this to even be remotely okay. I'm just swatching it a little on my finger. Oh, it's actually very watery. It's like very, very much a gel. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. See, I swatched it there on my finger. It smells like candy. It smells like candy, but it's like one of those things where the pigment is barely there, like just sort of like a sheer wash. I think that one of my cousins would probably love this. It's very like easy to wear, natural, no makeup, but it's not what I want to put on to complete this look. If I do end up trying it on my face during makeup playtime or something, I'll report back during my reckoning. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the two LILAH B products together, mixed onto both of my cheeks. Let's start with the illuminator, and then I'll mix in a little bit of the color and then finish with the illuminator. It's definitely not as creamy as the lip and cheeks. It's almost got, not a powder quality to it, but like a particulate matter quality. It is beaming, but it doesn't have the emollients that I've come to expect from these LILAH B little pebbles. Interesting. It looks amazing under the lights. I'm still talking about the highlighter. I mean, the color, of course, looks beautiful, but the highlighter is really, really picking up. In person, it looks really natural, like much more natural than I feel like the camera is perceiving it as with these beaming lights on me. I feel like that would be a very, very wearable product for someone who wants something like that, sort of like an easy to apply, not too scary cream. Not a powder, but not too emollient, not something that's gonna be sticky on the skin, because it's really not sticky at all. It's not a powder, but it's almost dry. It's weird. It's really different. If you have tried the lip and cheek and you're wondering if this illuminating product was just gonna be like an illuminating version, it's not. The formulas aren't the same. But the effect is very good. And I do feel like it's working together with everything else that I have going on. It's not competing too much, but it's giving me just a little bit of structure on the cheeks. All right, let's try this illuminating setting spray. Seal the deal. This is also something that Flower sent along. I sprayed too much. I feel like it was feeling good to spray it, so I just kept spraying it. Now my face is wet. Okay, there we go. That's everything. I feel like I'm so unused to having such a cool toned light pink on my lips that it's making me feel like I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, sort of, with this eye look, even though it's not as though the eyeshadow is like truly purple or blue or anything like that. It's just that the difference between the way in which the colors usually work together on my face and the way that these work together is kind of stark, and it's surprising me. But I do like the lips. I think I would probably prefer this lip color if I had a truly neutral eye, or maybe even like a more warm toned eye on. I think I'm gonna hang on to it and keep playing with it and keep kind of messing around with it. But I feel the same way about the eye look. Like, I'm not mad at the eye look and I'm not mad at the lip. I probably just won't pair them with each other again. Let's go through all of the products one by one. Isn't that what you do at the end of a video like this? You go through one by one. So this was a total fail to me, the foaming illuminating primer. I really don't ever want to use it again. The eyeshadow quads, I feel mixed about. I think that they're lovely. I think it's a lovely release. I wouldn't recommend these to like a makeup aficionado, like a makeup lover. If you already have eyeshadows that you love, especially if you already have these colors and you're just attracted to them because of the beautiful packaging and the texture on the pans and the shine, I wouldn't necessarily recommend like doubling up on colors that you already have by acquiring these quads. but I do think that there are people for whom they will work well. And I do think that they are really, really well curated and that the packaging is really pretty and that it's like a nice release. Rowan 1111. Happy to be reunited with it, really remembering again how intensely textured that one shadow in here is. I think I'm going to be using it again in the coming days now that it's out of the advent calendar and back in my hot little hands. The lip, I love. I think that this, the CBD Chill Out Lip Glaze from Flower Beauty, is the best thing that was in the PR package. And I really, really like it. I think that this is like a bona fide dupe for high-end lip glosses. I feel so far like it's a formula dupe for the Bobbi Brown. It's really nourishing. It's really beautiful. I just want to keep wearing it, and I would love to like acquire another color of this. Like I feel quite passionate about this. To me, it's like the find of the video. Forgot the mascara. This might be another find though. I'm glad that I decided to test this out, even though I have a number of mascaras that I'm in the middle of testing or trying to use up, because it is a very impressive drugstore mascara. And I think those of you have told me that you thought that I would like it because yeah, it's right up my alley. I wish the formula were a little bit wetter, a little bit less sticky, the same way that I wish of the Pat McGrath. But again, I feel like one could say that this is like a drugstore version of, or a drugstore dupe for that Pat McGrath Dark Star mascara. LILAH BB Enchanting. I'm a little bit surprised that it doesn't have that emollient kind of like lipsticky quality of the Lip and Cheek products, the white pebbles. I'm sort of surprised that it has this like semi-sheer, almost semi-dry, like a cream to powder kind of sense about it. But I don't hate that about it. It just surprised me. It's not what I was expecting. And I do think that the effect is very beautiful. I think that this is like, it's a very wearable and easy to apply cream, and not all creams are. And I think it's a very wearable and easy to apply illuminator as well, and not all illuminators are. I think that this would probably work really well for dry skin and for mature skin. And then lastly, the illuminator, I like it. I like that it's sort of bi-phase, like you shake it up, and it is radiant, and the sprayer was good. It was nice. I wanted to just keep on spraying it. I don't totally know whether or not I'll retain this because I just am not that good at remembering to use sprays and setting sprays, maybe because I use a lot of cream products. So even the ones that I really love, I do tend to pass them along, but I'll keep testing it. Maybe I'll fall even more in love with it and I'll decide to keep it. The fact that it's called Seal the Deal makes me think that it might be more setting than many just finishing sprays that I have. Like some sprays are just kind of like refresh yourself, illuminate yourself, and some are like set your makeup. And the set your makeup ones I tend to actually be more interested in keeping because of this work that I do under these lights and sometimes for long hours. So the jury's still out on this because, you know, it's kind of hard to tell on first use, but the sprayer is great. I'll report back. And I'll report back on all of these things. They'll all go into my purgatory box and I'll reckon with all of them and let you know for sure when the time comes whether or not I decided to keep them. That's it. I did it. I tried new makeup. Thanks to Flower Beauty and LILAH B for sending me new makeup to try. It was really fun. It's fun to do this. This is like what I would have done it just by myself. Like I already had been like messing around with the Flower Beauty stuff a little bit, but I hadn't like sat down and tried to do a full face and really thought through my reactions. I would have just done it by myself, and it was fun to put the camera on and do it with all of you. So yeah, thanks to the brands for the product. Thanks to all of you for watching. I hope that this was a fun one, and I really hope that you're remembering to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.